Welcome to the Pulsebeat podcast. I am your host today, Elizabeth Fairchild. The Pulsebeat podcast is sponsored by Cardio Miracle. We are so excited to have our guest here today, Lucie McGuire. She is a Florida-based entrepreneur, social media strategist, and nonprofit founder. Actually the founder of Get Real Social, where she helps businesses grow through authentic branding and organic social media strategies. In 2020, Lucie founded the Traveling Youth, which is actually a nonprofit. It provides study abroad opportunities for undeserved students, which is incredible, inspired by her own life-changing travel experiences. She was recognized as the 2023 Humanitarian of the Year for her work empowering young people through global exploration. That's so cool. Lucie also runs Moxie Adventure Partners, encouraging entrepreneurs to embrace solo travel, confidence, and personal growth. Where when she's not building brands or mentoring future leaders, she's traveling, hiking, paddleboarding, love that, and exploring new cultures around the world. Also love that. So we are so excited to have you, Lucie. Welcome to the Pulsebeat podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. It's an honor.
And I'm in Florida also, so I guess we both appreciate the sun and all the wonderful things that Florida has to offer.
Yeah, well, I'm born and raised in Florida, so I feel like I had to appreciate it whether I wanted to or not.
Fun fact. Okay.
Yeah.
We did not talk about that, but that's very cool. And we were actually just early talking about, and your bio, your global exploration. So, I mean, jump right in. Tell me. So you're in Florida now, but it sounds like you've done a lot of traveling and you plan to do a lot of traveling. How did this all start?
Yeah, well, so that's a loaded question for sure. Right now, I'm actually in the process of selling my house so I can work remotely full-time around the world. I have actually been to 36 countries in 29 states so far in the past 8 years. And yeah. So I really just love learning about other cultures. I just got back from El Salvador a couple of weeks ago, or last week, and it was incredible. So it all started from very humble beginnings because I'm born and raised in the town just next to me, which is Jensen Beach, Florida. And
no
when,
way.
yeah,
That's literally, I graduated high school I was the second graduating class of Jensen Beach.
We were probably in the same high school.
right, like after it was built, because the first graduating class, and then I was the second graduating class.
Wasn't the first graduating 4-year class? Oh, well, that was 4-year class was 2009 or something. Yeah, anyways.
I graduated in 2007.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah. The first 4-year graduating class was 2009, and that's when I started high school. Yeah. So, that's awesome. We both went to Jensen.
Love that. And actually, my mom still lives in Jensen, and I see her all the time. So I'm going to see her this week. I'm excited. But that is so cool. You said Jensen. I was like, no way. So, I mean, it's a small world. I love it. I love it.
It really is. It really is. Yeah, I know. It's funny. It happens to me all the time. Someone who I went to high school with, I was in Prague last summer and literally ran into them and asked them to take a photo of us, but I didn't know it was her at first. And I was like, wait a second. Wait a second. Did we go to high school together? It's really crazy.
Love when that happens because it's a synchronicity. I truly believe in that. So tell me more about other synchronicities in your life.
Yeah. So I grew up in Jensen Beach, Florida. My family didn't have a lot of money, so I actually never really went on vacations as a kid. And I just really realized this a couple of years ago, where I was like, wow, I don't think I've ever been I was never on a vacation as a kid. We traveled to visit family. What?
You live on the beach, but you probably wanted to travel as a kid, right?
Yeah. Well, I think naturally, we're like, oh, what's out there, right? Or maybe, sometimes, a lot of the times, maybe people might be a little bit afraid of it. But I, got to go to Dominican Republic as a kid, where my mom was from, and Pennsylvania. Those are the only two places I went.
That's a far worlds apart. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, in Florida. So that was what I had. But then when I started to grow up, I really went into the American dream they tell you to get, right? Get the job, go to school, get the husband, do all the things. And I was in a 4-year relationship that I wasn't really happy with. I was taking care of my dad full-time, working full-time, going to school full-time. And that was in my early 20s. And I ended up losing my dad, which was a huge rock of my world. And After that happened, I really realized how short life was. And I was like trying to purchase a house and like do all the things, and things just weren't working out for me. Or I kind of got into this screw it moment where I was like, nothing is working out. Screw this. I'm going to travel. And that's when I decided to backpack Europe and study abroad. So I studied abroad for 1 month in Czech Republic and Hong Kong in 2018. Then I stayed in Europe and backpacked to 10 different countries with my best friend. And that changed my world forever. And that's what opened my eyes to travel, like from a small town girl to like, oh my God, the world is so big and you shouldn't have to have a lot of money to be able to travel. So that's really where
I
it all kicked off.
I love that. I mean, and just the fact that you moved through that, obviously on that journey through Europe, but also grieving and healing from the death of your father. And I'm so sorry to hear that. I actually lost my dad 5 months ago. Um, and it's been really hard because he was a great man. And, obviously it sounds like you love your dad and I love mine too. So rest in peace, Jeff. And what was your father's name?
He went by Mac.
Mac. Rest in peace, Jeff and Mac. We love you.
Yeah.
So, but that sounds like an amazing adventure. And I actually can relate. I lost my sister at age 12. And so I actually went to Africa in her honor to work with the orphans. And so that was so healing. But for me, because I was 12 and then looking back years later, I was like, in hindsight, I was like, wow, that really did give me a better perspective and help me be stronger. And I know I can get through anything no matter what's happening.
I
So
love that so much. Rest in
I
peace to her
completely
too.
relate to what you're saying. And, Europe, I've actually been to Brussels, Amsterdam, Paris, and kind of explored that. And it's very fun over there. And it's a
Yeah,
different world and everything's so old and there's so much history and it's
there is.
so rich. And you sound like a cerebral person like me. And I was just like taking it all in. Like, I just want to know like what's out there. So
Yeah.
you do this travel stuff for undeserving kids. And how do you define that? I mean, that's amazing that you do this work. It's a nonprofit. You found it, right?
Yes, absolutely. So the underserved students that we help are these students who would otherwise never have the opportunity to be able to travel. And so they're 18 to 25-year-olds in college or trade school. They apply for our scholarship. And again, I did my own study abroad trip. And the only reason I was able to do that study abroad was because of my dad passing away. I got like a little bit of money from life insurance.
Wow.
And that's what like led me that I was gonna put it towards a house. And then when the house didn't work out, I was like, you know what? We're putting the money towards travel. And I just
Door
worked my
opener though, like
yeah.
because suffering brings amazing blessings. And that is a lesson I think for all to realize. Like, it's hard for a time, but then good things can come out of it. So
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's one of those things I say is bittersweet. Like it was bittersweet to lose my dad, but obviously like it led to the best thing that happened in my life. So I
I
feel like
agree.
it was his final gift to me is how I look at it. And he's, if he knew how much I had traveled, like at this point in my life, like I think he would like lose his
Jaw
mind
on the
because
floor.
yeah, because he was someone who lived in Florida here for probably 30 years of his like 25, 30 years of his life and never went to the Keys. So he literally like wanted to do all these things and never got the chance to. And so if he knew that I had been to all these countries, I don't even know what he would think. Like,
He'd
um,
be so proud of you and be like the jaw on the floor, like, wow.
yeah, yeah. So it's interesting to think about that, but also my brother is like a spitting image of my dad. So like I get to
Uh,
like kind of experience it like for second degree with my brother, which is great.
how many years apart are you guys?
A lot. My dad would have been 82 this year, and my brother is like 50,
Okay.
54. Yeah, and
Okay.
I'm 30. I'll be 32 this year.
Okay. Amazing.
So
Yeah.
quite a big age gap, yeah. But yeah, it's awesome. And then so when
Have that.
helping students, yeah, oversee like helping these underserved students, I was that student, right? And then when I went overseas, I literally had the idea at the end of 2018, after 4 months in Europe, I was like, you shouldn't have to have a lot of money to be able to travel. And I came up with the idea then, but I came back and I was broke from being in Europe for 4 months and quitting my job of 7 years, like before
So
going.
my dear, yeah, it's all those euros add up.
Yeah, yeah. So then I came back and I was broke and I was like, okay, time to go back to work. So I went back to work. And then 2 years later, when the pandemic happened, all of a sudden I had all this time. And then I was like, wait, what about this idea I had? And I was working for a real estate title company back then before I started my businesses. And I decided to like reach out to my professors and ask them what they thought about the idea. And they were like, this is great. You should implement it in the capstone program at the local college. And that's what ended up pushing it forward to start the organization in November of 2020. And everything kind of fell into place. Like I really didn't anticipate starting the nonprofit in that exact moment, but every person I asked to be on my board said yes. The professors encouraged me to implement it into the capstone program, which helped me build out the plan for the nonprofit. And then we had our first fundraiser and we were all of a sudden running and going. So it's been a little over 5 years. We've raised over $200,000, sent 16 students overseas.
Congratulations.
Helped change their lives. Yeah.
How many students have you helped?
16 students so far.
Wow. And where have they gone in Europe, and like what's the curriculum? Because obviously you're pouring into them financially and this investment in them. What are you teaching them? What are they getting out of this experience?
So it's really exciting, actually. So one, it's a month-long study abroad program. We're partnered with a university called CZU in Czech Republic. And so there's 3 weeks there and then 1 week in another country. The first summer we went to Czech Republic and Germany. And then the second time that we went, was Czech Republic and Belgium.
On my dad's side, actually. So
What?
I'm mostly German on my dad's side, and I cannot wait to go to Germany. That's like
I love Germany.
bucket
It's
list.
one of my favorite countries. Yeah, I've been there like 10 times. Every time I'm in Europe, I have to go to Germany. It's like a thing.
You're making me get on a plane like right now.
Yeah. I'm like, it's fine. I'll be in Germany later this year for sure for the German Christmas markets.
I love it. Well, maybe we'll run into each other one day in Germany because I'm absolutely going there very soon. So
Like, if you ever need tips, I got you, girl. But so we have the month-long program, and then we also measure their emotional intelligence. So we actually have an EQI assessment we give them before and after the trip that helps measure their emotional like tools that they have in their toolbox. And we've seen upwards of 11. Yes. We've seen upwards of
seriously, no, nobody is doing this. Nobody is doing this. I love talking about how culture makes us richer, deeper humans. Like that. I did not mean to interrupt, but Lucie, this is incredible. Nobody is doing this. So measuring EQ. Crazy.
Yes, it's so true because our society focuses on IQ versus EQ.
It's so wrong. It's so wrong.
And that's what we're missing the boat when it comes to that, especially when we're preparing these young adults for the workforce. So we really look at ourselves as filling a gap because we're helping them understand themselves deeper through this process, through education and cultural exposure. And we're tracking their emotional growth. So we've seen upwards of 11% growth in areas like stress tolerance, self-awareness, emotional expression. And it's been incredible for these students to then help perpetuate their careers as well and them being more emotionally sound adults in the workplace.
You know, it's absolutely true. The more people, the more ways of life more perspectives that you're exposed to, it does. It opens up your world. It opens up your eyes. And I think it was Albert Einstein. He said, the mind that opens to a new idea can never return to its original size. And that was one of my favorite quotes until I read a Picasso quote about sharing your gift and purpose with the world. And I'm working on that currently. And anyways, I'm so glad to connect with someone like you. The things you're doing out there are amazing.
I always say that if everyone in the world traveled, I believe we would live in a more welcoming, understanding, and empathetic world. And that's the world I want to live in. So
I love that. I love that, Lucie. That's that's like the motif behind like what you do.
Yeah, it is. It absolutely is.
That's great. So tell me, because I'm so curious. Okay. And then I have some questions about like SEO and social media stuff. Cause because, Cardio Miracle, we're a nitric oxide and vitamin D3 supplement, but there's nothing like us on the market. And so we obviously are building our brand and wanting to get out there. And actually I'm drinking it right now. This stuff is amazing and it tastes good. It tastes like berries and it's good for you. So I had some questions about the health world and like what you do. And if maybe there's some things you've seen and connected to what you do, with the kids. And then obviously I want to know too about the other things that you do. And where can people find out before we get too deep into that? But where can people find out about the nonprofit if they want to get involved, if they want to help? And we'll drop a link on the screen for everyone that's watching.
Yeah, absolutely. It is thetravelingyouth.org. So it's very easy. Traveling with
Okay.
one L. So thetravelingyouth.org.
Thetravelingyouth.org. Okay.
Yeah.
We got
And
that.
people can also find us on social media at the Traveling Youth USA on all social media platforms.
I love that name, and I'm excited to see what the logo is because I did not see that previously. So because it sounds like you're a very creative person, so I'm sure it's great.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's cool. It's a cool logo.
I like it. Like, of course, I love it. Okay, so yeah, so tell me more about the. I'm so interested in that. So you measure their EQ before and after taking them on this month-long journey across Europe, and then what else is going on with the kids over there?
Yeah, so they get to do day trips during the college. So they take classes at the college. We have some great partnerships at the college there and everything. So they get to stay on campus for the 3 weeks they're in Czech Republic. And then they actually get to take classes on campus. The college helps us coordinate day trips to other cities within Prague within Czech Republic. And then also sometimes other cities in nearby countries as well. And then
Wow,
we did,
wow.
yeah.
What ages are doing this?
So it's 18 to 25-year-old students.
Okay. Okay.
The young
That's a great that's literally the formative, especially men and women of that age can get into not so good things. So the fact
well,
that they're in that experience instead.
and talking about mental health too, and just
Yeah.
all of these things, right? Like I always say the biggest lie we're ever told is that you're an adult at 18 because
I
you're
agree.
just figuring life out. Like, yeah, you might be an adult and you can vote and you can do these things, but like your entire 20s is for figuring your life, like what you want to do. And some people, it still takes them their 30s and 40s and 50s. And I think it's unrealistic for us to like put the expectation on the 18-year-olds to like
I
know what they want to do for the rest of their life. Like that's
I
just
100% agree. It's crazy.
not real.
Just because the government says you can vote and you can do certain things does not mean that your prefrontal cortex has developed and you have decision making skills. Because I can tell you, I was dumb, way dumber in my 20s than I am now. So
Yeah. And I think giving grace to that.
yeah,
So many of these 18-year-olds, they feel so much pressure because they feel like they need to have their life figured out. They feel like they need to have their career, their job. And it's also like this perpetuated system we've created with like, you should work for 50 years and then, retire and then enjoy your life. And it's like,
no, that language, but also I think there's pressure because from the influencer side of things, like they got to go out there and do the social media thing. I mean, I feel like a lot of the younger generation kind of falls into that trap where it's like I have to like put my life online and this is the only way that I can like make money. And I don't know, do you see that in your industry?
yeah, it's really interesting. I have quite a unique perspective because I work with these young adults. And then I also have interns that have worked for me at the social media agency that I own, right? So we actually see a lot of younger adults not being on social media as much. So there's a new trend with that of just like not having social media platforms,
Are
or
we
if they do it,
talking
I feel like
Gen Z or beta?
Gen Z.
Gen Z. Okay.
Gen
Yeah.
Z, like a lot of Gen Zers, like of course there are still ones who are on social media, like absolutely, but some of them do tend to like take, like they're trying to detach, and you have to also remember, and I've realized this when I've done some of my speaking in some of the younger classrooms as well, and the high school and college level. If you think about people who are in their 20s right now, the pandemic was 6 years ago, which is kind of crazy to think about, right?
Call it the before times. Anything before COVID.
BC, before COVID.
The
But
before times, like land of the prehistoric dawn, like literally.
yeah, literally. And so what's crazy is that I was speaking to a group of high schoolers, high school seniors, and I asked them, I was like, how old were you guys when the pandemic happened, right? And they were in middle school. And they were talking about how that shifted and they felt the shift in their own middle school lives of like having to go from more in-person things to then shifting to everything being online, and then them feeling overwhelmed with the amount of things they were doing online. So then now it makes sense that they would disassociate a little bit more from that, or the way that, and I've also talked to like retirees before, and it's interesting to see how they aren't addicted to social media the way that the younger generations are. They're the ones that are like, oh, go outside and play, right? But
Yes.
like, that's
Yes.
how they used to deal with that when they were younger. Now, how these young adults associate and disassociate with what's going on, the stresses in their life, is to go onto their phone, onto games, onto these technology. And so that's how they're coping. But it's not necessarily the healthiest way, but they don't know any other way.
No, it's not
And so
healthy because the psychologists have literally coined a term for screen disorder in young children under 5. So, no, but I completely agree. I mean, I align with the whole get outside and like get off your phone thing because I mean, I'm an elder millennial, but we know the stories of the landline. But
yeah, we do. We do. We do. We're the last generation to know what it was like to not be reliant on a cell phone. But even the
I know.
older generations above us, they think they think
We use it a lot.
millennials,
Yeah.
yeah, that we don't know. And I'm like, well, no, we do. We do know what it was like
We
to
have
not.
total awareness. Yeah,
Yeah,
we've heard it all and we lived through 9/11 also. So,
yeah,
and
yeah.
now we
No,
understand
exactly.
that, so we won't go there, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true. But I think we'll actually see, especially in the social media world and just with AI now that's integrating into everything, we're going to see a shift back into real world experiences. We're already starting to see it as well, just in that social media space or in the event space, is that people want more human interactions because the human capacity of all of us is actually really important. And a lot of times people discount it because they're looking for the easy route, right? They're like, oh, AI will do this and AI will do that, right? And
AI
there's
cannot give you 8 hugs a day.
exactly. I mean, can hold my mouse.
Right?
No. No, yeah, exactly.
That's what I
It's
mean,
very true.
and I love AI because and we use it so much in our work, but it's always gonna miss. I actually saw a video. This is kind of crazy. I saw a video this morning of the Chinese party addressed it, but there was a robot, like a street robot doing a performance, and there was like a 4 or 5 year old kid, and he came out and he was just standing there looking at the robot, and the robot came up to him, started dancing, turned around and kicked him right in the gut hard with his robot leg. And the government was like, "Yeah, we suspended the robot after that incident." And the kid's just like on the ground not moving after that. And like I'm just like this is getting wild. So, I mean, there's two sides of the AI technology coin, of course, but that was a little bit crazy to see. I was like, I really pray. I'm praying for that kid.
Well,
So,
and we have to realize that it's not human versus AI or robot, right? It's human with AI, right? How do we always need human oversight with these certain things? And when you get to a
always.
point where you're not letting anyone oversight and understand what's going on, that's the dangerous side of it. When you're like, oh yeah, AI just take over all of it. Like
Exactly.
that's not the answer.
Exactly. No, I agree. So, with the obviously the work you do, the mental health focus, I just wanted to touch on that and actually just kind of ask, I guess, in terms of like health and what you do with, the branding and the social media. You have an agency and that's like a remote agency, or is that's based here in Florida? Um
Yes. So it is remote. So we work fully remote, but like we do have some clients who are local who, want us to come out or whatever it might be. But the way our systems are set up is to be able to help anyone across the
I
country,
love
the world if we wanted.
it.
But we are a social media agency focused on organic social media content. So everything without paid ads. And we are really about helping businesses understand how to connect with their audience without having to pay for those eyes, because social media is the biggest change in the marketing world that we've seen. And so if you think about all old styles of marketing with newspaper and billboards and radio ads, right? And all of these placements that you had to pay for, that's the biggest issue that we're seeing with businesses going onto social media, is that they're so used to paying for attention that that's what they're doing on these platforms, right? They put everything out that feels and sounds like an ad, and that's not what actually people relate to online. When you go to social media, you're not like, what am I going to buy today? That's not like why you're opening up your phone.
Yeah.
You're opening up your phone to connect with what's going on in the world, your friends, family, whatever. And so a lot of times it's reshaping the marketing world for these business owners to really understand how to connect with their potential clients in a relatable way that's going to actually get them more attention than if they paid for it.
So would you say that this is just kind of a very specific question? Would you say that Facebook groups need to come back in a big way?
I think Facebook groups are still big in a big way.
Okay.
Already, Facebook's the number one social media
Well,
platform in the
for
world.
brands specifically, like to have a personal audience hub.
Yeah, so that's a great question. When it comes to Facebook groups, of course, it's a great way to be able to connect with other people if you want to build a Facebook group. But actually, what we're seeing is that a lot of people are building their own platforms off of these social media platforms because we have to remember that you don't own anything on these social media
Of
platforms. It's
course.
borrowed
Yeah.
space. The Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I mean, if they shut down your account tomorrow, like right? You better hope you have an email list and that you have your community of people that are involved, right? So we host a group coaching program and we host it on a platform called School. And that is where
Oh,
we
I'm
have
familiar with school. We
yeah,
actually were consulted to potentially check that out. So
yeah. Yeah, it's a great
okay,
way to build a community off of a social media platform because you have a lot more control over it, and
oversized.
you know everybody that's in there, right? So it's a little bit different. It takes an additional step to get people off of the Facebook platform, but if you can really cultivate a good environment, the same you would have to do in a Facebook group anyways, it's a lot more fruitful.
I appreciate that. I think I mean, and that proves I think what you know and that's amazing. I mean, you are smart. You don't sound smart. You are smart. So,
Thank you.
this is great. I have so many questions. So the social media stuff. Okay, so you're remote, you're helping people. What you said, oh, I wanted to touch on that. So you do organic, you focus on organic social media branding, which is I love that word, organic, not only because of the food and because of Cardio Miracle, but because but because I agree with you that organic content is still king. I think it will always be king because people, I mean, we have less attention spans now than we did the before times before COVID. I mean, quarter of a second, everything's overwhelming. There's so many choices. You see colors in the grocery store, it's an illusion of choice. And so even with social media and ads, and so I love that you take that organic approach. That's something that I just think is really cool. Now, I am curious because, and it's funny because I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and I overheard them talking to someone who does, Facebook ads and marketing, and they're like, well, how expensive is Facebook ads? And I'm like, well, obviously the client doesn't know, really the right question to ask, but the person's response was so ambiguous and vague. It's like, oh, well, after a few days, you'll really see like what, what you're going to need to spend or whatever. No, you need to have a clear set budget. And Facebook advertising is expensive. It is
Yeah,
not what it used to be. And I'm sure,
correct.
as because I do keep my finger on the pulse, these platforms change constantly and they have been changing so much. I mean, even Instagram with the sizing thing, when it
Oh my
changed
God. Yeah, they've changed it like 17 times in the past year. I'm like, can we just not and like say we did? Like, can you just not?
literally, I know, I'm like, stop, please. Cause now it's like, and now our cover photos, I mean, so that's why I was saying before we even started recording. So anyways, it's just like, we need to get this together.
Yep.
The sizing is just crazy for Instagram, but, yeah, so I am so grateful to have this conversation with you. Okay. So Lucy, obviously the social media stuff is you're amazing at it. It sounds like you're doing a lot of fun stuff. And then obviously you have the nonprofit, the traveling youth, which is so cool. And I do love that name. And again, we will have a link on the screen to if you want to check out Lucy's site and everything that she's doing in the world. That's amazing. And on that note, Lucy, I wanted to ask you, what was one place that you traveled to that had the biggest or most profound emotional impact on your life? I mean, I know you shared about your dad and that starting journey, but and you shared also Germany's one of your favorite places, but what would you say the defining moment, if you could remember it in one memory?
It's so hard. There's so many
And that's why it's a
incredible
great question because you
experiences.
experience so much.
Yeah, it is. I have experienced so much in the 36 countries I've been to, and it's just different that they impact you in different ways. And so I would say that the most impactful moment that I've probably been to, like moment, place, was actually Auschwitz in Poland.
Wow.
Which is, if
Yeah.
for anybody who's unfamiliar, that is like the largest concentration camp that exists in the world from the Holocaust time. And it was so eye opening, surreal to physically be there, walking through it, hearing about the stories, hearing how human beings were being treated. And, it's funny because I'll go, or not funny, I won't say it's funny, but like it's interesting when I go overseas and I'm like in Europe or I'm meeting other people who are traveling and they say they're going to Poland and I'm like, oh, like, are you going to Auschwitz? And a lot of times they'll be like, no, I don't think I can handle that. No,
Mm.
that's a little bit too dark or whatever it might be. And while I totally understand that, I think that it's one of the most important places to go visit for every person because if we don't realize where we came from in history, then we're doomed to repeat it.
Ag
And I just think it's so important to take those, like, while traveling is beautiful and I've been to so many incredible places, it is not about vacation for me. It's about learning about the world and my place in the world. Consider myself a traveler, not a vacationer. When I'm traveling, I am working remotely, I am experiencing these places, I'm meeting new people. And it's a really important place, in my opinion, to experience as a human being because when you realize, especially through travel, that we are all not so different after all. We're all skin and bones. All we want is to be loved, to be happy, to not be suffering, right? We all inherently want the same things. And when you see that it can get so dark to a point that people are treating other human beings like they're not humans, it really makes you open up your eyes to just what are we doing, right? Like, why are we treating people in such an inhumane way around the world in multiple different ways? Like, we are all just human beings. And I think that everyone should go there at some point in their life if they have the opportunity, if they're near Poland, if they're in Poland. And a lot of people don't, especially Americans, don't even understand that, like, that concentration camp is in Poland. Like, they think it's in Germany, just
I actually knew
geographically.
it was in Poland, but you brought it to
Yeah.
my memory, and there's a museum in, that I've been to in New York, I think, or DC. I can't remember where that
Yeah.
museum is with the shoes, but, it is
Yeah.
yeah,
And they have a version of that in Auschwitz as well. Like, they have actually an entire pile of hair as well because they,
oh,
like, would just consider, yeah, it's
my
insane.
stomach just, like, drops, but
Yeah.
it's funny not funny, again, we
Yeah.
both said
Yeah.
the same thing
Yeah.
because what do you say to something so sick, right?
Yeah.
But, like, also it's a learning experience, and, I would say probably one of my most profound moments, also World War II, but going to the Anne Frank house in, Amsterdam, and because I read her book, her birthday is actually June 12th, and so is mine, which is this Friday. And so I love Anne Frank. I've always loved Anne Frank's diary, and just Otto and her father and what he had to do to bring that to light after the fact and dealing with the grief of losing his entire family. And so I going up the neck-breaking staircase, when you walk into a place like that, as I'm sure you can understand, it is palpable energy.
Yeah.
Like,
You
even
feel it.
talking about it now, I'm getting, like, chills down my back
Yeah.
because these people stayed in this place hiding for their lives,
Mhm.
um, because another human being had a god complex that was completely out of place. It's just I mean, if to sum it up very swiftly, but
Yeah, and I
anyway,
think that
thank you for
that's what
sharing.
makes it so important to travel too, because no matter what you like, you could read all the books in the world and experiencing it with your own eyes in your own body, there is a feeling. Like, there's a feeling being in a place that you can feel like what's happened
Yes,
there. I'll never
yes.
forget being in Germany when I was in Berlin and taking the tour in Berlin of just like, there's like when you take a walking tour in Berlin, they go through all the different places that Hitler and everything experience. I will never forget it on my study abroad trip, me being in this big plaza and them being like, okay, this is where he used to command the people. And I was like standing there and I was like, this is crazy. Like you can feel it.
I can't even like, I'm just
Yeah,
like, I know I have to go there to experience it myself just to be like, whoa. And I'll
yeah,
probably cry because I cry
yeah.
most of the time during profound moments.
Yeah, girl, it's it is deafening the feeling that you get, but I think it's important. I think
I do.
that there is so many beautiful places to see in the world, and even I think that's what a lot of people focus on, especially the influencers and such like that. But there's so many
Right.
profound
Right.
historic places to go to as well, and just understand
Well,
the
we are
history
looking
of where you're.
I completely agree. I mean, and Cardio Miracle, just as a shout out, looking for great influencers who are interested in or who are already traveling the world and focusing on health, mental health, good things. We would love to chat with you. You can send us an email at support@cardiomiracle.com. But I just wanted to make that shout out. But Lucie, thank you for everything you've shared today. This has been an amazing discussion. You never know who you're going to meet in life, and obviously the synchronicities and how it all comes together. And we're just a few miles from ourselves, but you are actually going remote and not off the grid, but just remote. And congratulations on selling your house too.
Thank
Um,
you.
so I just to wrap this up, this has been an amazing episode of the Pulsebeat podcast. You can catch these episodes on our YouTube every week. And Lucie, the traveling youth, was there another for your social media website? Did you also want to shout that out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, if anyone wants to check that out, it is getrealsocial.com. And I know you mentioned in my bio earlier too, moxieadventurepartners.com. But you could really just go if you want to just learn about everything that I'm doing, go to luciemcguire.com and you can get access to everything.
I love
It's
it. I
amazing.
love it. I love that you chose your name as like, this is me and this is the umbrella of the things that I'm doing. And I think that's powerful. I was just actually having a conversation with someone about that the other day because I was hung up on a name and I was like, they're like, just use your name,
Yeah.
and I was a fan of that, but I go in between like needing to be a little avant-garde, I guess. My teachers always told me I wrote well, but it's like it's easier to learn how to simplify things than to learn how to embellish them. And I was always great at being a little verbose. So now, to simplify my thought process where it's like, no, it's okay to be more simple
Yeah.
things. And I
Well,
think
and
it's
just
even strategy, social media strategy, sometimes people complicate it. So
that's exactly what I was going to say too. Like personal branding right now is so important on social media. So just using your name or a variation of your name, like my social media handles are all I am luciemcguire.com because somebody wanted to take Lucie McGuire on Instagram and not post for 20 years. Okay. So like, it's fine.
Is it
Fine.
true? Hold on. Is it true the only thing worse than no social media is outdated social media?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like this outdated. You're not even using it. Give me my name. But anyways,
Yes,
Lucie
girl.
McGuire. But yeah, like personal branding is really where it's at with social media. And not only that, but that's what, if we really think about it, the big brands have been using personal brands. Influencers now are a thing, but like they've been using personal brands like Shaq and Oprah and all these things because if Shaq goes and says, I'm going to buy this coffee, or Tony Robbins or Oprah says, I love Starbucks coffee, you're going to go to Starbucks all of a sudden. Like it's so our names are really important, especially as we move into this AI world where people just want
I
to
do
connect with
think,
people.
side note though, I do think celebrity influence and culture has changed a bunch since
Oh,
the political
yeah.
landscape of 2020.
Yeah, that's
I
true. That's true.
I
But
don't
what's
think we have
great
as much pull.
is
Yeah.
with the power of social media, now anybody can be a person of influence. I don't call it an
Right.
influencer, I call it a
Right.
person of influence because you can be a business owner.
Like that. Yeah. Influencer just sounds like the thing you don't want to be now.
Yeah.
Because of we've redefined it in dirty ways, I feel like,
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
like that. Person of influence, Lucie
Yeah.
McGuire. I am Lucie McGuire on all the social media handles. This has been Lucie and Elizabeth Fairchild today on the Pulsebeat podcast. We are so grateful to have you. Lucie, any last ending words, anything you'd like to leave with the audience, anything at all?
Just lead a passionate life and do what you love, Life is too short not to do what you enjoy. And if you are miserable doing what you're doing, make a change. That's all I have
I
to say.
love that. I love that. You are amazing. And yes, live with passion, live with love, lead with love. And thank you for joining us. We are the Pulsebeat podcast, and this is Cardio Miracle, sponsored by Cardio Miracle. So we will see you again soon.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.